So in this video, we're going to debunk the narrative and really get on top of these false claims about Jalen Brunson being undersized and the fact that he's not a superstar due to this size and the fact that he doesn't have a name. So let's talk about it, man. Yeah, you now rocking with the most popular YouTube channel on the planet in terms of talking this Knick talk. I am the objective fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. And you know the vibes, yo. And yo, we got some things to talk about. Honestly, yo, I'm just tired of the narratives, bro. The narratives knocking Jalen Brunson, talking about the man is not a superstar. And most of the time, is related to his size. And them saying, oh, well, due to his size, right, he can't be a superstar. He's too small. He's undersized. You don't have teams where their best player is their smallest player winning the championship, right? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm here to really crush that. I have a video on the channel where it kind of sets the tone for this video. You don't really have to watch it as a precursor, but just check it out. I'll put a link in the description where I really went in. I even took it to Steph Curry, and I'm gonna touch on Steph a little bit, but I'm just gonna debunk this size thing. I just hear it so much, and honestly, what sparked this video is that first of all, I want to salute to New York media, Post, Daily News, SNY. I feel like their writing has sort of helped change some of the narrative because those writers actually have to go to Knick games, they have to watch Knick games, and then write about it, right? So their perspective is a little bit more detailed. So when we watch national news, typically it's to get the breaking stuff, right? Because national news covers everything, everywhere, right? So if we don't live in OKC, more than likely we're not going to be exposed to their media, so we won't know the ins and outs. So that's why the ESPN, salute the ESPN, they do a good job. I'm not knocking them. I feel like the problem is when we get to topics based on really the locality of things, where even though the Knicks play 25 games on national TV, so if you work for ESPN, for example, half those games come on that network. So that means that you're probably only watching 6 to 10 games. And you can't really get a feel for a team if you only watch 6 to 10 games and then you just read what the national media says, like what your writers in your company say. Your writers in your company, for the most part, when you talk about on a national level, don't spend enough time with the Knicks to really understand what's going on in-house, right? So this is why I'm doing this video, because there's a narrative, and Stephen A. Smith, first of all, salute to Stephen A. Smith. He's been holding us down in these playoffs right now. I'm recording this video the same day I did the last pod, and the game 5 in the Garden. So this is right before that game. So I'm not sure what happened yet, but I'm predicting a Knicks blowout win. But Shannon Sharpe yesterday, which is the Monday after Game 4, spoke about Jalen Brunson and the Knicks' performance, getting the big win in Philly. And this is how I can tell national broadcasters don't really know what's going on with Knicks teams. Anytime you jump on the bandwagon of Jalen Brunson, he did what he did, but he's undersized, despite being undersized. Any reference to undersized, that shows me you're following the national media narrative. And it's a false narrative. And let's jump into research mode. I'm gonna start early. So, pal, if you're new to the channel, we jump into research mode. I put it all on the screen so we can all see it together. So you can see that I'm not capping. I'm speaking off pure facts. Of course, I had Steph Curry on the screen, right? This guy is one of the greatest point guards of all time. Now, this is not a show talking about Steph. I honestly believe Steph Curry possibly the best point guard of all times. I know I'm going to get crucified for that, but I don't care. Steph Curry is amazing. He's 36 years of age, right? And right now, I feel like Jalen Brunson is better than Steph Curry. Not career-wise. Not career-wise. Steph Curry is, in my opinion, the greatest point guard of all time. So let me preface this. But within the last 2 seasons, Jalen Brunson, to me, has been the better player, and the numbers show it, right? Now, I brought this up on the Steph Curry videos. Steph Curry, I've never heard them say he was undersized. Despite the beginning of his career, that was the knock of him coming into the league. Once they start to see Steph, once they saw this right here, so check this out, man. I have a popping Discord server, just started it, getting there early. We have all different types of sections. We have 90s Knicks, we have current Knicks, we have everything Knicks. Listen, this is a community of people who you can tap into, not outside of Facebook, without all the Facebook restrictions, right? We keep it respectful, we keep it nice, because at the end of the day, we all Knicks family, right? So definitely check it out. It's called Knicks Tape Madness. And the best way to get involved with it is to check out theobjectiveknicksfan.com for more details. Let's get back to the content. I'm going to show you. When he got the 22 a game right here, you see this 22 a game? This is when they started to take him serious, right? He had 11 votes for the MVP, 8 most improved player votes. This is when he started really cooking. It was from this point forward, that's when they ceased all of the size comparison. Steph Curry is 6'2", 185. Jalen Brunson, 6'2", 190. Relatively the same size. Give the edge to, right? Ja Morant. Oh, yeah. Got a new player in the game. Ja Morant. Ja Morant, young, talented player out of the Memphis Grizzlies, right? He was drafted out of Murray State after his sophomore year. He went second pick behind Zion Williamson, right? One pick ahead of our beloved RJ Barrett, who's no longer with the Knicks, right? He's balled out for sure. 2022, that's when he began his reign, averaging more than 25 a game. I feel like 25 point is like the barometer. I feel like 20 is the barometer for a good player. 25 is the barometer for a great player. So once he crossed that 25 point mark, that's when he was an assassin. Never, not one time did anybody mention Ja Morant's size. 6'2", 174. He's smaller than Brunson. Now, the only difference between him and Brunson is he jumps out the gym. Definitely jumps out the gym and is faster. Outside of that, he and Brunson are the same size. Well, Brunson has a little bit more size because he's a little bigger, right? He's not shooting the ball on Jalen Brunson's level. I don't want to look at this year. He only played 9 games. So let's look at last year. He's 46% shooter. Brunson's 48%. Not a good three-point shooter. 30% three-point shooter, right? So Brunson, to me, is a better all-around scorer than Ja. Ja is a more raw talent in terms of athleticism and ability like that. He's a better rebounder than Brunson, and he gets more assists. But point is, Ja Morant, and a lot of people had the Grizzlies doing well this year, even with him missing the 25 games, right? I've never heard any knock on Ja Morant saying that he's too small. In fact, salute to Gilbert Arenas. I listened to a lot of his show. They were talking about the faces of the league, and they say it's going to be Ant-Man, who I'm going to get to in a second, and Ja Morant. But they fail to realize that Ja Morant is 6'2". Another thing, too, people think Jalen Brunson is 6 foot, 5'11". He's not. Jalen Brunson is a legit 6'2". And this is with the new metrics that they created in terms of measuring height, right? And everybody pretty much lost the inch. So Jalen Brunson is 6'2", just like Ja Morant is 6'2", it's just that he jumps out the gym, right? We're going to take it to Anthony Edwards. If Jalen Brunson's undersized, which I don't see it, then Anthony Edwards is definitely undersized. Now, is he the smallest player on this court? No, but he is the shortest player on his team. They said that a small guy won't win a championship. Now, they did say guys who are 6'4" don't count, but at but at the end of the day, he's a 6'4" two guard, right? With a point guard who's a small point guard and Mike Conley, right? 6'4", but he does have the weight. He is 225 pounds of muscle. So he does have the weight, right? I feel like Jalen Brunson also has size. His size, he's able to post guards up. I got some articles here because, we in research mode. So I got this article here. Salute to jitnux.org. Jitnux.org, they're a marketing company. They're legit. They do a lot of market research. Here's, if you want to go to their homepage, you can see who the founders are. This is the people who cite them as sources, the BBC, Psychology Today, Yahoo, to name a few, right? So I'm gonna show you the statistics that they put out, and this is reported in 2024, updated in February 7th, 2024, right? So check this out. The average NBA player is approximately 6'7". As of 2021, the tallest player was Taco Fall. He was 7'6". The shortest player in the NBA is Chris Clemens, 5'9", right? The average height of a player in the NBA in the 2019-20 season was 6 feet 6 inches. So hold on. Let's stay there. The average height of an NBA player is 6'6". Jalen Brunson, 6'2". Ja Morant, face of the league, 6'2". Anthony Edwards, super face of the league, 6'4". Undersized. The average height, 6'6". Those guys, Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards, according to the old media narrative, they are the right size, but Jalen Brunson is not the right size. 1980s, actually, we're getting shorter. Because look in the 80s, the average height was 6'7". 90s, the same thing, 6'7", right? It declined from 6'7" to 6'6" during the 2010s. So we're actually getting smaller, height-wise, slightly, right? So in the 2010s, the average point guard height was 6'3". Average height for shooting guards was 6'6". Power forwards in the NBA, 6'9", right? This is during the 2010s. Now, of course, compared to adult male, 6'2", only 17% of the population is 6'2" or taller. So, period, all NBA guys are big, right? 1940s, look at this. Look at the evolution of the game. In the 1940s, the average NBA player height was 6'2". That's interesting. In 2020, the NBA draft saw an average height of the top 60 picks standing at 6'6", which is on par with the average in the 2010s, right? 6'6". So look, the average height of players in 2020 NBA was 6'6". Okay? Average height of NBA players in the 1970s, 6'6". So in the 70s is when, that's why I consider the 70s the beginning of the modern era of basketball. Partially because of the size. You see more centers. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't going up against a whole bunch of guys that was 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", like Bill Russell and those guys. I digress to bring it back, right? So the average height of the 2017 draft class was 6'6", right? So that's definitely been the thing. But here is my final stat on this website I want to talk about, right? The average height of point guards in the NBA in 2019 was around 6'2". Shooting guards had an average height of 6'4". So if the average height of point guards is 6'2", and the average height of shooting guards is 6'4", that means all three of these guys, because I don't think Anthony Edwards is undersized. This is not my narrative. I'm using old media's narratives against them because they say that Jalen Brunson's too small, but Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant somehow magically aren't too small. Even Steph Curry, but Steph Curry was the anomaly, right? I talked about that in another video. You can see how I dissected the Steph Curry stuff. But I'm just showing you that if the average height is 6'2" and 6'4", then Jalen Brunson is not undersized. Jalen Brunson is 6'2", 6'2", I got it highlighted. Even highlighted Jalen Brunson. Now he's extra yellow now. Jalen Brunson, don't kill me for that. He's 6'2", 190. The latest metrics of the NBA, which I have it here, 6'2", 6'4". This is the NBA's numbers, right? So tallest player is Victor Wembanyama, because Taco Fall is no longer in the league. He's 7'4", right? Shortest player is Marquise Noel. He's undersized. He's 5'8". That's undersized. Average height of players entering the NBA, the average height of this season for players in the NBA is 6'5". So that would still, if you want to use the average height, that would make Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant undersized, right? So I'll land the plane there. I had another article from Basketball Reference, but I'm gonna jump out of research. Final thoughts, because this video is a little longer than I wanted it to be, but this is the second video I'm killing this narrative about Jalen Brunson size superstars, because the other superstars are small. Ja Morant's a superstar. Anthony Edwards, the only thing they have with Jalen Brunson is name, but Jalen Brunson's getting his name up. I'm taking away the size from you. The size is capped. The best players in this league, right, besides Europeans, because the European guys, they all big. Jokic, Embiid, big for their position too, right? Because Embiid and Jokic is huge. Giannis is huge, right? Luka, huge for his position, right? All these guys are big. So besides the European guys, right, overseas guys, the best players are small. The best players are small for their position, or small guards. Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, and now Jalen Brunson. This might be a part one. There's more I want to talk about, right? But I just wanted to show old media. Stop the cap in the narratives. If I hear Jalen Brunson's undersized one more time, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip my lid. That's all for this video, man. Thank you for rocking with the best YouTube channel on the net. I have a Discord that I am putting together. If you want to check it out, definitely theobjectiveknicksfan.com. That'll probably be the best way to access it. Go to theobjectiveknicksfan.com. Join the community. The name of the Discord is called Knicks Tape Madness. That's all for this video. So until next time, let's go Knicks.